Hi everybody, I'm Hector Garcia. I'm recording this on October 29th, which is the day after Intuit made a big announcement in their annual conference in Las Vegas to talk about their new Intuit accounting suite and books close features that they're adding to the accountant version of QuickBooks Online. So I have signed up for both the Intuit Accountant Suite Accelerate Beta and Books Close. And this is the one that I'm going to focus on, the Books Close. But I'm going to kind of show you around. So I am currently in the beta. It says that there's no charge, but they said on stage that these are going to be premium offerings. So accounting firms, accounting professionals, pro advisors would have to pay for this add-on at some point in 2026. It wouldn't surprise me that it would be January 1st, 2026, but also maybe they don't have the pricing model or whatever set up by then. But at some point in 2026, maybe the beginning, maybe somewhere in the middle, you will have to pay for these features. And there will still be a free version. Like, for example, if you look at here, it says downgrade to Intuit Accountant Suite Core or switch back to QuickBooks Online Accountant. QuickBooks Online Accountant is going to be phased out and it's now going to be called Intuit Accountant Suite. And the core version is going to be the free one. So right now I'm beta testing the paid version that will be paid at some point in 2026. So I want to walk you through those features. And I haven't played with it. I haven't touched it. We're going to do this first look. So we're going to go here where it says work. Okay, click on work and then open up the accountant navigation tab. And then there is three things under here. We're going to have our work projects, our client insights, and our books close. The one I'm really excited about because of what they said on stage is the books close. So we're going to go into books close and click on overview. So right now, nothing's showing in my screen. There's a drop down here for clients, periods. So let's just do October 2025. Assigned to, so this is everybody in my firm. And status says to do, in process, clock, or complete, right? So there's actually really nothing to do here because no clients are showing up. So I'm thinking, and I'm kind of like just trying to instinctively work with this. So I'm sort of testing this and working on it and giving you a first look at the same time I'm looking at this for the first time. I promise you, I hit record, I hadn't touched it yet. So what I think maybe what makes the most sense is because I can't, doesn't look like the drop-down menu for client is working, is that the clients haven't been loaded, so to speak, into this. So I'm going to click here where it says onboard close client. I'm assuming that's kind of where I go to choose my client. So click on that. Now I got a drop-down menu. Okay, here are all my clients. So let me grab one of these clients. Let's see, I grab this Hector Garcia Corporation. And then it tells me choose template. So if it says choose template, that means there's more than one template. I'm making the assumption that this books close is like a default template that we probably can go back and edit. So we'll see, we'll take a look at that. Assign to, let me assign this to Andrea. That's kind of like, I guess, the person in charge of closing the books. And then the period. So we'll do September 2025. That's fine. And again, I don't have any other choices here. So that's what we'll do. And then I'm going to click on save and start close. I'm making the assumption that if I save, it just gets out, I guess, added and loaded into the list. And it doesn't start the closing process. If I go save and close, I'll go straight to the closing process. So I have to make the assumption, let me refresh the screen, that now Hector Garcia Corporation will show up in this list. And then I can start closing Hector. So there we go. So right here it says tasks done, 0 out of 73. So there's 73 tasks associated with this close. Now there's open and then there's a drop-down menu. So we got create close, which I assume is something to do with open to, and then go to QuickBooks, which I assume it goes into that particular QuickBooks file. So let's go to open, which is the most logical one that comes in from there. And then what I think I'm looking at is the list of tasks. So we have things that are assigned to me. We have our statuses. We have our due date. I assume it marked everything that due date. And then we have all the completed tasks to go. So let's go to the first thing. It's called pre-close. Make sure all transactions in the bank feeds are coded. That makes sense. This is editable. That means that you could probably customize these. These are from a template. And then we have a due date. So maybe I can change the due date, let's say to the 31st or whatever. And then I can assign that to myself because right now it's only assigned to myself. but I'm making the assumption that at some point you should be able to assign other people in the team. But right now everything's assigned to me. And then we have gather all relevant documents. Let's make this a November 4th due date or something like that, right? So just pick one of these dates here. It doesn't let me, which is curious. Okay, it doesn't let me change the due date. So I wonder if I have to change the due date up here in the master to then change it down here. Okay, that's the due date for the whole thing. Let's see if it allows me to do it. Okay, so it looks like I can only pick a due date that's on or before the master due date. Okay, that kind of makes sense. I mean, I wish it gave me an error letting me know, hey, by the way, you can't pick a date after the master date. I had to figure that out by trial and error, so that's not that great. Then there's, status to do. So let's say, for example, this has been completed or got started. So I'm going to mark it in progress. Then there's an edit button. Okay, that's interesting. So now I can change the name of the task. I can add additional description. So I can put also make sure to manually download the closed accounts or something like that. And again, this is not the template. These are the tasks inside of this particular close. And it says link name. I'm just going to put here PayPal, or actually whatever it is, right? PayPal. So then I'll go to the PayPal website and maybe go to the the login page or something like that, and then click on this URL, and then copy this, and then go back into here and add the link. So I'm just I want to make it super easy for people to do this, and then I'm gonna say such as PayPal or something like that. Okay, and then we can change the due date. So again, I don't think I can pick a due date past. Oh, wait, okay. So now it's giving me an error. I wish it said invalid date. Pick a date prior. Again, I have to know this, right? So I have to instinctively know this. And then back in progress. That's good. Save. So so you have a lot of details you can edit inside that task itself. So let's put this one in progress. Let's go down and see what else we got here. So now we got the individual reconciliations, right? So I can go into each of the bank accounts and say, okay, this has been reconciled, this hasn't been reconciled. So we'll make the assumption, let's say that these first four accounts have been completed. So I'll just do complete, 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 and complete. Something that's missing on this screen, and Intuit, if you're watching this, which I know for a fact you are, because I'm the first person posting a video about this, there needs to be a way for me to select multiple accounts and in batch complete them, or change the status, or change the dates on them, or assign. It can't be one by one. That's crazy, especially an account like this that has 20 or 30 bank accounts. So you need to be able to change statuses in batch. So okay, so that's good. And then all these other ones I have to, it's super annoying. I gotta go in there and change each one to in progress, okay, or to do, or whatever it is. Okay. Now there's a view and reconcile, which I'm assuming that, and I won't click on that, but just wait until this refreshes. But I have to make the assumption that that opens up the QuickBooks file and goes into the reconcile screen of that particular account, which I like. I love that. Drop down menu, go to QuickBooks. Okay, that just goes into the QuickBooks file, but I particularly love that link. Now, one thing that feels kind of annoying, it's like every time I open and close that little tab, it's refreshing all the accounts, which actually I don't mind, but if it's gonna be this slow, I probably prefer to do a manual refresh. Okay, that's good enough. So you're gonna go through all your banks and credit cards, whatever is reconcilable. There's a little add remove button up here, which basically allows you to choose which accounts are part of the close. So maybe there's 2 or 3 bank accounts that you don't close, you never have to close. Maybe they don't exist anymore. Maybe they're not part of the review process, whatever. So I like the fact that you can remove some of the accounts that are not going to make it as part of the close. I wonder, or I wish this could have a way to, maybe indiscriminately or discriminately go in and grab a whole bunch, or group them in some sort of logical way, like maybe all bank accounts as one grouping, or credit cards in one grouping, something like that. Because again, it's just very overwhelming what is your entire chart of accounts showing here. To be fair, that this sample file that I work with has a bunch of accounts, and it might not be realistic, but I think it'll be useful if these were organized or sorted in any way. So anyway, I'm gonna click on save, and then okay, and it's asking you, are you sure you want to remove them? don't worry, the accounts will only be removed from the bank's close. That means we're not deleting. We're not deleting the accounts. We're deleting them from the close. Okay, they're not being deleted from the chart of accounts. So I like that because obviously the word delete and remove makes some people panic. Okay, then we have transactions to review. Now this is part of the built-in closing tools that are inside of each individual QuickBooks file. So these, it looks like in this level at the file, at the client close level, these individual tools are going to be there. But also, I know for a fact these are part of the books review inside of the file itself. So I suspect that these features that are here will still be available even if you're not paying for this extra books close system, but they will be inside each individual QuickBooks file. So you have to log into each one. You won't see it in the Intuit Accountant Suite level. So there's a lot of cool things here. So for example, if there's transactions that are uncategorized, that would show up here. If transactions without payee, so we have any transactions that are missing payee, so you could probably select a bunch of transactions, even though these are all journal entries, which gets a little bit trickier. But I'm making the assumption that any checks or whatever that are here that are missing a payee, you'll be able to add a payee. Journal entries are a little bit trickier, of course. And then there's the date range. So I could pick the date range, but for example, I could change the date range here and expand what I see. And what's also cool about this is I could probably also use the exclusions to then pick what I want to see. So let's say, for example, I don't want to see journal entries. Like those are annoying. Those are not useful. You can't do anything with them. Click on save. That removes journal entries, and so now it shows obviously a lot less transactions. Let's say I pick here the whole year. Again, this is the first time I go into the screen, but if you're doing this every month, you obviously only need to worry about the ones for that month, then close your book, etc., etc. So here's some missing payees. So let's say I pick all these things, and I'm like, okay, I know exactly who the customer is for these transactions. Pick the customer, and then maybe maybe I'm missing class or I'm missing location, whatever it is. Click on apply, and then bring that information in those transactions. Okay, so we sync transactions with the books in QuickBooks. Now, that just means that whatever I did was I added that missing information, which would be nice if it would show it right away here, which is not. Let me click on refresh and see if it does show it. Okay, so weirdly enough, it's not showing it. So actually, I'm not 100% sure if that worked, right? But this is the premise. Anyway, then if you want to remove them from this area, you click on this little checkbox that says status. You click on check. Now, this doesn't reconcile them per se. This only removes it from the books review, from the list of transactions. These are the anomalies, right? So you get rid of them, then you don't have to do any more work in this category. Then we can see transactions posted to parent accounts. That's pretty cool. So if you got like a sub account and the transactions posting to a parent account instead of a sub account, those are showing here. Okay, I would probably be more interested to see that, let's say last year, I'd be more interested to see transactions that are like checks or something like that. Let's see, last year, apply, and then maybe get rid of invoices. I'm just going to click on exclusions, and let's say I don't want to see journal entries or invoices, right? So like I kind of just want to focus on more like expense transactions. Okay, so I got these expense transactions that are all being posted to a parent account. So I'm making the assumption that this category also has a subcategory. What's kind of annoying is I don't see the potential subcategory there. So there might be some opportunities there to make this interface a little bit more make sense. Let me do a batch editing where I pick the account. Let's say, okay, I gotta go back and I wish I could move this box out of the way so I could see where I was, but I had to X out. So this is using account 171. Let me click on edit again. Let me type 171. Okay, there it is. So there is a subcategory called sub account of 171. Like that's actually, this is a test file, right? But there is an account that has a parent account, and then it also has a subcategory. So again, if you have a pet peeve that you don't want things to be posted to the parent account, that's actually a great thing to do. So you just click on that, and there's a bunch of transactions. Click on apply, and boom, in one shot, everything gets batch edited. Super useful, right? Again, if there's a parent account with sub accounts, if you don't deal with sub accounts, this stuff might not be relevant. But here's a couple. One, we got this advertising account. Let me select a couple of these. Click on the edit, and then this is advertising. Okay, no, it was a different advertising account. This one 159 advertising. Notice that there's a bunch of sub accounts here, so that's pretty cool. So you can pick the whatever right subcategory is, again, to avoid picking parent categories. And you can also change, if you noticed, from this screen, you can edit, which I love this. Batch editor is amazing. You can change the payee name. You could change, obviously, the account, class, location. You can assign a customer project. I love that. So if you got missing customer projects in there, you can assign them in there. And that should have, hopefully, I don't know why it doesn't show. It's kind of strange. You refresh again. So something's weird with the refresh. Okay, there now it's showing now. Now it's showing. Okay, so it allowed me to batch assign a customer job for those people doing that. And then once you're done, unfortunately, I wish there was like a, once I select them all, click on, boom, mark as complete or whatever this is called. This checkbox as resolved. So I hate the fact that I have to go one by one. That's like super annoying. Okay, go one by one and resolve them. Okay, but there should be a way to batch do this. And by the way, you're watching this on October 29th. I'm pretty sure that in a couple months, everything that I mentioned here will be fixed. Otherwise, Intuit, if you don't fix it, you will look ridiculous and dumb for not doing it, because I'm telling you what to do, and everybody watching this video is going to comment in the section, in the comment section, is going to put, Hector's absolutely right. Do absolutely everything he's telling you to do. Otherwise, this is not useful. So make sure you do put that in the comments so Intuit watches and they go, yeah, absolutely. I got to fix everything Hector says we got to fix. There's a couple other things here. There's some that say coming soon, transactions auto posted by AI coming soon. That means obviously it's not available. So I'm excited about that. Okay, what exactly is an auto posted by AI? I would love to know what that is. I don't know exactly what that is. But whenever they add that, I assume they're also going to add the ability to quickly edit or change or fix while you're doing it. And there's another one here that says coming soon, expense inconsistency. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to make the assumption that I'm using, let's say, a vendor name, Home Depot, and then I've used Home Depot for 3 different categories. I used it for advertising, and then for supplies, and then for fixed asset or something like that. So I assume this will detect that. So that's actually pretty neat. Class inconsistency, same thing. Maybe I got a bunch of transactions for a particular customer or vendor or category or type of transaction. I don't know how that works. I mean, it's going to use AI where it'll try to figure out, hey, it looks like maybe you have missed classes or put the wrong classes in there. Transaction is manually created. I find this pretty interesting. I don't know exactly what manually created means. That means it didn't go through online banking, maybe. It's interesting. And then we have transactions without classes or locations. That's amazing, right? To be able to like tell me everything that's missing a class or location, I think that's incredible. Like really, really, really valuable stuff. Let me do exclusions and get rid of journal entries, just because that's journal entry is a very complicated type of transaction. So we have all these things missing, class and locations. Okay, let's get rid of invoices too. That's invoices and maybe sales receipts too, because those are split transactions. So we have all these things missing, class or locations. That's pretty cool. I can select a bunch, click on edit. And some are not editable, which actually it's kind of a pet peeve of mine, that if you show it in there and it's not editable, don't show it. And I think it's, by the way, it's this payment one. It's these 2 payment ones. You can't change the classes. I know that because I know that, but it's not obvious because the screen doesn't give you good errors. But I know that if I get rid of these 2, I should be able to click on edit, and now I'll be able to change the class. So again, I know that because I know that. Not super obvious. It's important into it that you tell the user the reasons why you can't edit. Don't just give me a blank editing screen and have me like guess why is this happening. Because this makes me as a user, makes me feel dumb, makes me feel I did something wrong, but you're not telling me what I did wrong. So again, into it. Use your head, man, please. All right, next one. We customize. I just want to go in here. You can choose what columns you want to see. So if there's like too much information that you don't want to see, you can get rid of things from here. I assume this is persistent. So when you go back and do next month's close, this stuff saves. I don't know. Rows here. Okay, how many I want to see per row. I love alternate row color. I think Intuit did an absolutely home run with that. I think that's always super useful. So I'll close that. Only thing is kind of a pet peeve of mine is I have to go into each of these. Oh, actually, no. Okay, never mind. Okay, I love that. So it looks like, let's see one that has more transactions in it. It looks like once I selected the this option to alternate rows, it works across all of them. Amazing. I love that. Sorting by date, I like that. I like the fact that I can sort by amount. Can I? Yes, absolutely. Yes. Every time I want to have the bigger ones first, right? So I want to have that. I want to have the biggest number there, or I could just click. Oh, that's awesome. These things are clickable. I love that. Absolutely. They nailed it with that. It's great. Now, when you have a really big list, you have like this one, unclear transactions on or before September 30th. And that date, that's because that's the closing period or the review period. I find this interesting that it also only shows transaction within 24 months. Actually, I would show everything, because if it's uncleared, it doesn't matter. So yes, I love the fact that it goes 24 months. The probabilities that you have unclear transactions past 24 months are very, very low. But there should really be no limit, right? If it's uncleared, there should be no limit, because what I care about is that the transaction is uncleared, not that the transaction is within 2 years. That doesn't make any sense. So we got all the transactions here. That's really useful information. I can do some batch editing on these. Again, this is not fun getting this screen. But if I pick a transactions that are editable, click on edit, and then there's a way to edit. The problem with this is usually when we deal with transactions that that are uncleared up to that period, and after I reconcile all the transactions, all these things are potentially duplicates. What's not really that useful in here is that I can't batch delete them or batch void them. That would be useful, right? Because from here, batch editing something that's uncleared is not really the logic that we do when we look at unclear transactions. Usually they're duplicates or wrong transactions. I like here where edit on and before, you can change that. I love that. So even though it automatically puts the closing period, which is great, but I like the fact that you can pick whatever date you want. That's really useful. We got exclusions. By the way, I think Intuit just nailed it with this whole edit exclusions things. I love this. I don't know why they only picked exclusions, not inclusions. And each of these would probably be its own thing that I had to think about. But I like the fact that everything is showing, and with exclusions, we get rid of stuff. Now it says here or, from, and to, but this is grayed out, so I wonder if this is working. I guess it is working. Okay, so I like that. So I can exclude a certain number of transactions, certain number of transaction types. I like that. I really would love to know, exactly how, like, sort of the nitty gritty of how these work. But it seems like this is a really, really nice, a nice little setup. It would be cool to be able to create mini templates, where like I want to review this set of exclusions in one shot, and then I want to review a different set of exclusions in one shot, instead of me having to go here and change the settings each time. That seems a little bit annoying. So that would be kind of interesting. Again, we can customize and choose what we want to see. That's awesome. It looks like this column things is pretty consistent across the board, so I like that. That way, it's just one setting that is across all table settings. But one thing I love, I really like this, I'm digging this, is that there's this little thing here that is the full screen, but it's not the same thing as a full screen for all the QuickBooks. It's a full screen just for this segment, which I love that. So you click on that, and then you have a full screen just for this segment. What's weird about, and this might be just a temporary bug, is that scrolling doesn't seem to work really well for me, and you can't tell, but I'm actually working with the with the mouse track. Even if I go and do let's say 300, which is going to take forever to load, which is fine, I understand. But if I do 300 and then close out of that, and all the transactions are being loaded, and I'm just going to click on refresh here, I don't see a, whoops, I hit back by mistake, so I over scrolled. Let's just call it that. Okay, let me see how do I get back into this thing. Let me go back. Okay, let me get back into the close. I try to scroll too fast. This was these right here. Okay, perfect. Let me zoom in again. There seems to be a weird glitch, and I don't know if it's something that haven't worked to the kinks, or the computer's still thinking. But the scrolling is just not working on this page. So I'm hoping that by the time you watch this, you don't have the same issue. But I'm just telling you, the day this was released, it's a bug on my screen, right? I can't scroll. So anyway, let's see what else we got here. Again, back into this full screen, and again, it's taking a while to load because I have 300 transactions. These columns all seem to be sortable, which I really dig. Again, keep in mind that if you're showing 300 transactions at a time, it's going to be much slower. This is very RAM sensitive, and my computer is particularly fast. And my computer is like $5,000, Mac. So for you with a older computer or something with that much memory, showing 300 transactions and sorting might be a very slow thing. So this is something that QuickBooks really needs to figure out how to fix the speed when there's a lot of transactions. Because many times I don't even think 300 is enough. Sometimes I need a lot more than 300. But the problem is I even with a super fast computer, if this is going to be a problem for me, it's just not going to work very well. And there's pagination, right? So if you can go across every page, so right now I have it limited to 10, that's going to be much faster if I go 10 by 10. So something to think about when considering showing 300 lines or more. Okay, so then again, same thing. I have to go in there and I have to mark each of these. Like, this is kind of the annoying part. I have to go in there and like complete each one. So Intuit, please give me the ability to batch select a bunch of these and complete them in one shot. Also, I don't know what blocked means. That's like a weird status. Like in my entire accounting career, to do, in progress, and complete, they're like real things. Blocked, I don't know what that means. I don't know what accountant or accounting firm said. Yeah. You definitely need to add block in there because that's a real status in accounting or bookkeeping. I don't know. I've never heard of this before. So that's interesting. I don't even know. Like, again, maybe that's a placeholder for something else, but I don't know what block means. And again, I could be wrong. Like, you correct me in the comments if you are like, Hector, no, you're crazy. Blocked is a very common thing that we do in all of our practices, and it means this or it means that. Then we have pay entity review. So new vendors coming soon. That's interesting. I assume that's new vendors created within a particular period. That could be interesting to review if the addresses are there or if there's potential duplicates. W-9 1099 management. That's cool. I like that. Again, these are all coming soon. New customers, same thing as new vendors, and newly added accounts. Awesome. I would add into it, if you're listening, new products and services too. Actually, new classes, new locations, everything. I mean, if you're reviewing new things being added into the database, let's review everything. I mean, you added like a zillion things up here. Why only limit these to 4? Then we got final review, okay, which is we're reviewing the P&L, the balance sheet. Again, pretty cool. And if you click on review, I'm making the assumption that goes straight into that report. And then additional items. These are like any additional items you can add. So I can add my own custom one to say, contact the bookkeeper and ask her if a new account has been added. Okay, and then we'll, something like that. We will every single day, all the time. I mean, every single month or whatever, we have to call this person and ask them, hey, just to the best of your knowledge, has a new account been added? And then, based on that, you did it, complete the task. Okay. And then send the financial statements or the report package, and then you can say in progress or whatever. Okay. Okay, that's cool. So it's actually it's basically a checklist. It's a checklist of all the things you're supposed to do when you close a client. Again, this is from a predetermined template. I kind of wish there was a big button here that says mark everything completed, because there will be points in time where, I don't have to go and check them. I'll just go through the whole thing. I'm good. And then just mark everything completed. I guess, some people get lazy and they'll Christmas tree it, or they'll just click everything's completed and skip steps anyway. But it's just like, I find it very annoying having to go into each of these and click complete, especially when some things are just penciled in. Okay, that's it. That's all there is here. I don't see anything else. So I'm gonna click on back, And then I get my high level view, and then here's my client, the period, the due date, and then this is to do. So once 60 out of 60 tasks are done, I assume something else happens. And again, I'm not going to go in there and put completed in all 50 remaining tasks. That's just so annoying. But I assume that something happens, and then you can remove it from here or mark it complete, or it has some special status or a little star or something, or a checkbox. I don't know. But all your clients would show up here. So if you want to do, if you click on create close, that's where you pick the client. So we go to Hector Garcia Corporation, go to save and start close. And I assume then I pick a different period, which would be like maybe October or something like that, or November, whatever it is. I pick the next period, and then I start the process all over again. So the point of this is that every single month you have a checklist of things you're supposed to do. Now, are all clients the same? No. This is where templates come into play. So right here it says books close settings, which is the only other button I see on the screen. I'm making the assumption that's to go see templates. So I'll click on that. Okay, and there's a template there. Good. Okay, so I made a really good assumption. And then I'm going to click on view. And then here's my template. Not editable. Here's my template. And eventually, this is that predetermined list that automatically got added. Okay. What I would love to know is, and this is more of a question for the developers and the software designers, is as you add more of these sections or categories or little areas to review, what happens to old templates that are missing the new things? How do we go back and add them? Do you add them automatically? I would love to know, like, how are you thinking into it about, when new sections to your feature set are being added, and how that works with old templates. Now I can create a different template. I'm going to click on make copy. I find it interesting that you can't just create one from scratch. You have to copy an existing one, which is fine. I'm actually okay with that. So we're going to call this our quarterly basic clients or something like that. Okay. So I can have my monthly premium clients, my quarterly basic clients, my annual tax clients, whatever it is. And then I pick, whatever the due date is that's typical for that client. And then again, I can add any custom tasks. And I can just, I guess, add and remove things from here. So let's say that for these quarterly clients, the only thing we do, again, all these things are useful. Every one of these things are useful. It's just that maybe I don't do everything. So all we do is on categorized transactions and without payees. Let's say that's the only thing we review for that type of client. Click on save, and then boom, only 2 items show up. Okay, I assume that when these come in, I will also have an add and remove button and pick those. Okay, but on the final review, I would love also for the final review something to be customizable, and I can pick all the reports, because there might be other reports. I may be looking at inventory reports. I may be looking at WIP reports. I may be looking at transaction detail report of fixed assets. I may be looking, like, again, I want to be able to customize the reports that are part of the final review, which doesn't seem like that's available here. Of course, I can add them as a custom task, but it'll be much better to add them as a list where I can link the report, and then the way it looked like I can go straight into that report. Same thing with, maybe we send financials. I also send them a list of attachments or something like that. Again, I want to be able to customize more tasks within these like categories. But the first thing that we have here is pretty awesome. I like this. So save to library. And now I have 2 different templates. So then when I go add a new client to my templates, I go to onboard close client. I pick a different client. So let's say I pick exceed sales. And let's say this is a quarterly basic client. And then I assign this to Andrea, whatever, go to save. Okay, and then so basically at some point I have to go up to my entire client list and figure out how to group them so they all fall into the different templates I create. And once you get familiar with this system, you'll know how to create the templates based on the predetermined set of tools that QuickBooks gives you. So that's books closed. I don't think there's anything else. There's a share feedback button. So obviously if you enable this, share as much feedback as possible. I could have shared all the feedback in this video through here, but I decided not. So Intuit, if you want to, get this video and cut it down into all my feedbacks and do everything I'm telling you, like nothing that I told you is trivial. Everything I told you is absolutely necessary. So that's like that's the first big thing, and I love it. Does it replace Carbon, Keeper, TaxDome, uh, uh, Basil or Basil, and Financial Sense, and I can't remember any other 17 Hats or whatever. Does it replace any of those practice management apps that have been doing this for 10, 15 years, that they know what the customers want, that have all sorts of features? No. But I think that only 20% of accounting professionals have a true practice management system. So for the other 80% that are too busy to look at a third-party app or too cheap to pay extra, well, I guess it doesn't matter because they're going to charge for this anyway. But depending on what the pricing is, this pricing could be very attractive and they could undercut all the practice management apps that are out there. Who knows? Again, I don't know, but because we don't know what the price is yet. But will it replace it? I'm gonna assume that for the next 6 months, no. I think I'm gonna say that for all of 2026, you're probably best off using the current practice management that you have right now. Beyond that, it's possible that Intuit might kill all those businesses. That it might make this thing so amazing, so incredible that like no one else will have any more value proposition. Now, the challenge with Intuit is they'll start with a very low price. Maybe they'll do like $5 a customer or $50 for the firm or some number that's like, wow, that's cheaper than Keeper or TaxDome or whatever, right? But then 2027 may come along and they'll jack up the price like they jacked up the price for everything else in the past. So it's difficult to say. The one thing I'll say is the direction that they're going with is incredible. This is amazing. Something that we've been asking for, especially the smaller firms that don't have the bandwidth to learn a whole nother system, to have everything within the QuickBooks ecosystem. It's amazing. It really truly is amazing. I feel bad for my friends that have developed amazing apps like Keeper. In many ways, I think Intuit, in many ways, Keeper's looking at Keeper because Keeper is probably best in class, particularly for people doing QuickBooks Online-centric bookkeeping work. Absolutely best in class, best community, best software. These guys are incredible. I think Intuit is looking at them and going, oh, how can we eat their lunch? And then, what can we copy? What can we do? That's what it feels like. Okay. And again, maybe I'll say something like, there's nothing wrong with that because Amazon did the same thing or does the same thing. Like if somebody is very successful selling XYZ in Amazon has the data, they watch it and they go, you know what? We could do it. Amazon batteries are a perfect example. So like this is the Amazon batteries example of the accounting industry. Okay, so that's books closed. The other piece I want to show you is client insights. Now, this is really cool. To my understanding, and I could be wrong, this is not part of the sort of extra. Like this will be part of the core of the free version of the enhancements to QuickBooks Line Accountant or the Intuit Accountant Suite. So books closed will be an add-on, but to my understanding, again, I may be wrong. Client Insights is going to be part of the free stuff. And it might be so good that it maybe not free forever. But it's really interesting. So you click on create new data, and then you pick what kind of data you want to see here. So we have custom views, we have P&L, balance sheet, and bookkeeping data. So I'm just going to start with P&L, easy. I'm going to click on create view. And then I have a list of all my customers. These are all my customers, okay? And we have a bird's eye view, a summary of all their P&Ls. So by the way, these are all fake customers. None of these are real customers. But these are all my test customers that I use for different things. But this is like all their revenue. This is the cost of goods sold, the expenses, the net income. That's awesome. Like a bird's eye view of like how my clients are doing. It's amazing. Now you could argue, are these numbers correct? Have they been fully reconciled? Can you trust them? Do we need to compare one client with the other? These are all arguable, great questions. That's why the books close is, right? To get all the books closed. Then to be able to look at your entire book of business like this, that's really cool. What I really want to do is I want to be able to group them so I can have like all my restaurants put together, or maybe all my lawyers put together, or something like that, or all my 1 million plus clients, or all my clients that I do monthly work versus annual work, whatever, right? I want to be able to group them. And it looks like with this concept of custom field, so I could do that. So as long as I have a custom field assigned to a client, so let's say, for example, I have industry or something like that, right? And then this is a drop-down list, right? And this would be, let's say, automotive, professional services, and let's say, what else we have here? Let's say contract, something like that. Okay. So I create a custom field called industry, and then I want to assign my clients each of these industries. Now, it doesn't look like I can assign it from here. I would have to go somewhere else. And for the benefit of kind of showing you that, I'm going to go into, let's say I'm going to go into clients here. And maybe I'll go into edit client, and let's see if I can change the color. Scroll down, there's a drop down that says automotive. Perfect. So I click on save. Then I go to my other client. Let's say I go to this one, and I go to edit. And let's go down and put here professional services. Save. And then I'll go to like this construction client that we have here. I have to actually click on edit client and then scroll down and change it to contractor. Perfect. So I group my clients with, I'll group my clients with the custom fields, and then I go back into client insights and pull up my P&L data template that I created, and then I can come in here and then click on, you know what, I want to see by industry, I want to see all my automotive only, and go to apply, and then only those show up. I don't know why that was not showing, but or let me try this by contractors and click on, let's take that one away, click apply, and then those show up. Okay, it's possible that this filter is broken. Or they haven't figured it out. So it looks like we have the intention to filter by custom field, but maybe it's not working here yet. I don't know that part. So I'm using the logic, and I'm discovering this stuff as we go. All my QuickBooks Online Advanced customers, that's pretty cool. All my QuickBooks Plus customers, that's pretty good. All my, let's say my Simple Start customers, my Intuit Enterprise Suite, that's pretty neat also, right? That you can kind of group them by the type of subscription they have. There's a filter, it's a lot more data. I like that. Lead, okay, so that's interesting. I guess that's a lead accountant associated with that. Let's see if, let me just do here. Let's do the custom field through here, see if that works. Let's do contractor, see maybe I missed something in the process. Okay, so now it's working. So I had to do it through filters. Somehow, I guess it wasn't working if I did it straight from here. Let's see, or maybe it took a while for that data to come in. Okay, so it's not working through here, but if I click on filters and I go professional services, let's try this again, filters, let's do automotive, apply. Okay, so it seems like there's a little bit of delay of the data coming in, but okay, that's good. So maybe it's not a glitch, maybe it's just a little bit of delay of data being updated. So pretty neat. We got customized here where we can pick a lot of other pieces. So maybe I want to calculate different things. I don't know why you would turn off client. You have to have client in there. Let's say we got current ratio, transaction count, and total bank balance. Okay, maybe I don't know if that's even relevant. And then we go in there and look at all of our clients, and then we can see like all their bank balances, right? Again, these are all fake clients. Like none of this information is real. So that gives you a general idea of how that works. Let me do this one that says bookkeeping data, because I haven't actually even looked at this thing. But maybe so I got some AR past due, AP past due, disconnected bank accounts, app issues. This is cool. This is like really cool. Then we got stuff like, I wish there was a select all button here, or select none. Let's see what else we got here. Transaction count. This looks like the same as the P&L. I don't know why these are different. Or maybe you can do that to create your own little templates Let's see, undeposited funds, uncategorized income, uncategorized expenses. I like that. So again, in a high level view, you can kind of see if anyone has anything in those things. Let me change this to maybe this year. Also, I wish there was better filtering here. So this year to date, this year to last month, that would be useful. I don't know if these are not working yet, or maybe none of these clients happen to have any of this data. So this could be something that's like working process. So I don't know. I don't know why no data is showing in here. So I'm sure the Intuit team will look at this video and try to figure out why is this not showing. So you did see the P&L data. Let's look at the balance sheet data real quick. Okay, some stuff shows up here, right? But what's again, I guess these are templates that have a combination of things that are here, but it looks like no matter which one we're in, everything shows, which is that now it makes sense why you can create a custom one, because it's basically the same feature, but I can pick whatever I want to see, right? So whatever data points I want to see, I can pick them. That's pretty. So they're actually templates. So that's useful to know that you can start from scratch and that you can pick things from here. So that's pretty neat. And that's it. I mean, there might be some things here under work. I haven't seen. I actually never used the practice management work system inside QuickBooks. It seems like this would probably be obsolete at this point because the other thing will take over. Here it says try new experience. I wonder what this is. Let me click on that. And I guess it's the same thing. Create a project. Okay, so this is more to create high level tasks. I'm worried that this work thing is now kind of obsolete with the books closed. So I wonder if Intuit has been thinking about this being something else than books closed. Like, I'm just kind of worried that there's just too many things. What I do know is that with at least the old view, you have that high level calendar view, which doesn't seem to be available here. Let me go back into the previews. See, the previous experience has this calendar view, which is pretty interesting. So I guess I'm just confused in terms of, will these two things exist? Will work exist as well as books close, or is work an alternative for the books close? Or once you have books closed, does work go away? That's a question I have for Intuit, because I don't know what the vision is for those two things working. On the client list, this is also an updated client list. What's cool about it, it has a list of the products that are being used. So this one uses bill pay, this one uses payroll, this one uses this version of QuickBooks Online. Here's the attached apps. I find that to be pretty cool. If I click on the drop-down menu, I can delete the client, assign custom fields. Okay, so that's cool. Let's see if I can do things in batch here. Oh, look, this is what I was looking for. Going back and assigning custom fields in batch. That's awesome, right? So now I can pick a bunch of clients and assign custom fields in batch. I wish that worked inside regular QuickBooks, right? For for all the things, right? Transactions, clients, being able to add custom fields in batch is super useful. Right now, it looks like it's only working within the context of accounting clients. Here, import client number. Okay, that's to add numbers to the client. So if you have like a client ID or something like that, you can do that. Under customize, let me see. Can we bring? Okay, so it's not that much more information. Not bad. Not bad. It'll be cool to see like how much they pay a month for QuickBooks Online and all the combined products. That could be useful into it if you're watching or listening. I also have this thing called client invitations, which is pretty neat, where it shows you your firm ID. So the process prior to this change is customers would add your email to their QuickBooks as an accountant. Then you will get an email, you have to accept it. I assume that if they just enter your company ID, boom, you go straight into accessing them, and it'll be a little bit less quirky than having to get an email to get access. Invitation sent to this firm, email won't be shown. Invitation sent to your firm's email won't be shown. Okay. Yes, I don't know what that means. I guess that's for the traditional adding customers that way. There are other things here that I don't know if they changed. So that doesn't seem to have changed. That's to add your team users, manage training. I like this where you can see all your team members and see what versions or QuickBooks are certified in, or what kind of certifications they have, what kind of courses they've taken within the Pro Advisor Academy. I love that. Let's say benefits. This looks the same as before. Pro Advisor training. This is probably the same thing that I'm used to, the Pro Advisor Academy. So none of this seems new. If it's new to you, definitely check it out. And I don't think there's anything else attached to this new Intuit Accountant Suite. So anyway, I did a full review. I don't know how long the video was. I'll find out in a little bit after I finish. But I hit stop on the record. Go in the comments and tell me what looks good, what questions you have, what's missing, what's unclear. Like, don't ask me how much this is because I don't know. That hasn't been announced. I assume that at some point close to 2026, maybe December or the beginning of the year, they'll let us know. But don't ask that question. But feature-wise, options-wise, what looks promising, what has you excited. If you use a practice management software, put that in the comments. Like all these comments are useful. And as I learn more about this and I get better at it and QuickBooks improves it, I will make more videos. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one.